While Fuller House may be a family show, the Fullest House podcast is not. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the Fullest House podcast, where we'll have a number 14 and a number 23. And Mark, what'd you say you wanted again?
I wanted a 26.
Got it. Okay, a number 27 for Mark. I'm Zach Horowitz.
Zach, 26.
Can I have extra spinach on mine?
Do you do extra spinach? No? Okay.
They don't do extra spinach.
Damn it.
Again, I just want to make sure it was a 26, not a 27.
27, right. All right. So, I'm Zach Horowitz. This bit has gone too long.
I'm Mark Greene.
I'm Harrison Bloom. And the baby's coming!
Guys, guys, I'm starting it off with our favorite segment, IMDb Trivia, because, guys, spoilers.
Spoilers?
Kimmy gives birth in this episode.
What?
Really?
Zach, how could you tell me such a thing?
I know.
What a trivia fact.
IMDb Trivia never ceases to amaze me.
That's right. We're doing one of the two classic sitcom season finales. No, it's not a wedding. We're having a baby.
Heck
We already had a wedding, Mark, although that wasn't the season finale, now that I think about it.
I know.
It really should have been the season finale, but...
It's the mid-season.
Yeah.
But yeah, the baby's coming, but first...
Baby is coming.
They gotta go to Hamilton. DJ got tickets to go see Hamilton.
Oh my god. Hamilton. Ah! Was this back when it was...
Harrison, I want you to do the entire episode like that.
Okay.
That's exactly how they respond.
Like this.
I'm sorry, is Harrison here or is that an evil witch?
I was gonna say that maybe at like 60%
enthusiasm. Witch of Hamilton. Haunted Lin-Manuel Miranda for the rest of his days.
Evil Witch, I gotta say, I loved you in In the Heights.
Oh, thank you. There was an evil witch in the Heights? Wow, I gotta see that HBO Max movie.
I mean, if you're haunting Lin-Manuel Miranda, I'd assume you'd take part in his latest movie.
It's in the background. In one of the shots, you can see, like, in a mirror, there's a ton of blood and a reflection of an evil witch. And then they just move on.
Right.
Yeah.
It's La Llorona, the crying woman.
Yes, of course.
Indeed.
But yeah, Kimmy and Stephanie, they can't stop arguing. And, like, Kimmy won't get up from the couch. And then DJ comes in with the best news. That she's going to take them on a baby moon, a thing we have learned exists.
God.
And
we should have done our research. I don't think that's a real thing.
No.
according to sources, it's a real thing.
Wait, really?
According to what?
According to our source, I didn't want to say we have a very special guest waiting in the wings who said that was a real thing while we were watching the episode.
Shows how much we were paying attention.
I didn't want to reveal the fact that we had a very special guest. I was saving that, but you have forced my hand. I hate you.
New life is being brought into the world, and by the end of this episode, maybe a life will be taken out of it.
So stay tuned.
It's balance. One must live, so the other must die.
Anyway, DJ's going to take them on a baby moon, a thing we have learned exists, maybe.
And they're going to
Apparently
see
it
Hamilton.
exists.
They're going to see Hamilton because it was timely at that time.
I think it was like 2018 when this episode came out, I think.
I love Hamilton, but it is funny to glimpse back at just absolute rabid love of Hamilton that spread throughout the nation.
Hamiltonania?
Sure.
DJ needs to, she's like, we can't tell Max that we only have 3 tickets because he's going to want to go. Max walks up behind her, and guys, he is not interested.
Apparently not, because he is a Broadway snob who hates hip-hop but loves cats.
He doesn't like music. He says he doesn't like musicals about hip-hop, roller skates, or cats.
But Cats is his favorite musical.
But Cats is his favorite musical.
Maybe he just doesn't want to see The Lion King. Like, someone told him The Lion King is the best musical ever, and he just doesn't want to see it. So he says he hates musicals with cats.
Like, here's the thing. 2 of those are very specific references to one Cats. I guess it could also be The Lion King.
Yeah.
And then Starlight Express.
Yeah, you're right.
And the fact that, like, of his two things, like, two are very specific references to Andrew Lloyd Webber works, that he's just not a particular fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber. And then also Max doesn't like hip hop. So maybe Max doesn't like Andrew Lloyd Webber and is maybe a little racist.
I mean, I was just going to go in a completely different direction and just ask what you guys think Max's favorite cat from Cats is. My money is on either the magical Mr. Mistopheles or, of course, Skimbleshanks the railway cat.
I feel like... Oh, no. I was going to say he definitely likes McCavity, but I think that'll be 14-year-old Max. 14-year-old Max
Edgy teenage Max.
Absolutely love McCavity. But until then, he probably likes someone like Magical Mr. Mistopheles, like one of the Ashley cats.
I think Max would be into the pageantry of the Magical Mr. Mistopheles.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think so.
Yeah. He's a magical cat.
They have similar dress choices.
He's really smart. I mean, was there ever a cat so clever as Magical Mr. Mistopheles?
That's true.
No. Never was there ever.
Of course, if we're going for brains, the Rum Tum Tugger is a curious cat. We have to stop talking about cats.
Yeah. That's a dark rabbit hole to go down.
We'll just do an entire episode about Cats, the movie.
Anyway, but also important, when Kimmy gets the news that they're going to be going to Hamilton, she does, fully pregnant, literal backflips out of the room.
Yeah.
Cartwheels.
Okay.
But
I'm
much
sorry.
Better. I don't know if that's any safer for the baby.
You should not be doing gymnastics maneuvers.
That's maybe a question we'll ask our guest when our guest.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, we could ask that. Okay. We'll take notes.
For a surprise segment we planned on introducing this episode, we are doing a really bad job of keeping it a surprise.
We're not really keeping it a surprise. We have a guest who we can ask.
We've decided that in the moment that we're not keeping it a surprise.
They're waiting in the wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then they all cut to it's time. They're going to go out to Hamilton. Yeah. Kimmy walks down the stairs in period accurate clothing.
Yes, which is a choice.
Which, as we have learned from watching 4 complete seasons of this show now, this is the season 4 finale. If there is a performance, Kimmy will go on stage by force most of the time.
At best, this is a joke about that, and like it's leading us to believe that they will perform a song from Hamilton in this episode. But
at best, it's a joke about that, and it's a subversion. At worst, they're just doing that.
Because as we all know, Kimmy Gibbler isn't exactly a normal person.
Right.
No, and speaking of Kimmy not being a normal person, she says the reason she's dressed like that is, you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe a Skylar sister falls on some ball bearings and they need someone to fill in. Which, one, Kimmy, they already have understudies.
Yeah.
And 2, DJ pats Kimmy down after this very revealing statement and finds a bag of ball bearings.
This very revealing and oddly specific statement.
Yep. Which means Kimmy was gonna at least injure, maybe murder an actress. And possibly the understudy as well.
How many Broadway actors do you think Kimmy has murdered in her time in her hopes of starting an acting career?
How many bodies are buried in the yard
underneath
of the Fuller House? Underneath the Fuller House. How many bodies have been buried since Kimmy moved in?
How many theaters has Kimmy been banned from?
Carrying ball bearings? The more we watch the series, the more and more apparent it becomes that the Fuller House is just a cult.
Yep. I don't know if she. I don't know if. Okay. I don't. What do you think? I don't think she's been banned from any theaters because she's still going around doing it. She hasn't gotten caught yet. I think there's just some sort of, criminal that all the theaters have to be aware of. I was going to say, do you imagine
it's like, stay away from the ball-bearing killer. The ball-bearing theater
exactly.
Killer. Or there's probably a more snappy name than what I just came up with in 2 seconds. But
is there a meat pie shop in San Francisco run by Kimmy Gibbler with a really bad stench coming from underground?
I was gonna say it's more like a Jack the Ripper kind of scenario where it's like it could be anybody, but they only attack Broadway actors during their performances.
Maybe there's an opera ghost going around, and it's Kimmy Gibbler. Kimmy was the Phantom of the Opera all along.
Oh God.
Yeah, Kimmy's gonna murder an actress. There's a very good line where Ramona walks in and says, "Are you guys seeing Hamilton?" And Kimmy says, "No, these are my only clean clothes." And then she leaves.
And then she also makes a Hamilton reference because, like, I think Ramona makes a thing where it's like, "Oh
Yeah.
wow, it's weird when your parents start lying to you. It's like the other way around." And then Kimmy's like, "Well, I guess you're just in the room where it happened." Cause get it, like Hamilton, isn't that hilarious?
It is hilarious. Incredibly hilarious. I've never laughed harder.
That's one of those comedic moments that they're going to be talking about for years on I feel like
comedy
special,
it's one of the
specials on the Comedy Channel looking back on the history.
It's really one of the most
jokes.
iconic moments from Fuller House. It's right up there with like staring into the camera for 5 whole minutes because Michelle didn't want to be a part of Fuller House. Danny getting a jacket made out of couch. The fish out of water from the Japanese wedding with the horrible CGI. And then Kimmy makes a Hamilton reference. That's the top 4. We're waiting on a 5th. There's 5 seasons. We're waiting for a 5th moment.
J Money needs some honey.
Ooh.
J Money needs some honey.
Got some honey.
There we go. That rounds out the top 5.
I will say I didn't realize until right now how bad that joke is, because it's a complete non sequitur. Like, you could say that to anything. Like,
yeah, I guess so.
Well, I guess you were just in the room where it happened.
Well, you know, Mark, we all came up with this non sequitur, and I guess you were in the room where it happened.
Oh.
That joke doesn't even work. We're not even in. We're on a Discord call right now.
Well, you know, you made that joke. You realized it wasn't good, so I guess you were in the room where that happened.
Oh, you son of a bitch! You got me.
You understand what I'm saying, though. Like, that doesn't really have anything to do with what Ramona just said.
Yeah, other than like, hey, it's a reference to Hamilton. Haha, funny.
I mean, why not say something like, "Sucks that you won't get to see Hamilton, Ramona. I guess you'll just have to wait for it." Hey.
It's more subtle reference there. Anyway, very important, parallel to this, we have our...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's not the B plot, but it's the C plot, which is...
J-Money Redemption arc?
No, I'm saying... I think the J-Money Redemption arc
No.
is the B plot. The C plot is sandwiches.
Yes.
That's right, the sandwiches.
They leave, and immediately it cuts to, I think Fernando says like goodbye to Kimmy or something like that, and then he goes into the kitchen, he's like, all right, they're gone. So now we're gonna go get sandwiches because our wives won't let us get sandwiches normally, apparently.
This is what we've been rooting for this entire time. It's a Jimmy and Fernando episode.
Yes.
Where they're just getting sandwiches.
I just want a Jimmy and Fernando buddy cop movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
A sandwich-based Jimmy Fernando buddy cop movie.
They're going to get
sandwich
sandwiches
heist.
because for whatever reason their wives won't let them get sandwiches.
Well,
normally.
Kimmy says while she's pregnant, the smell is making her nauseous.
Oh.
So they haven't been able to go to Uncle Monty's Sandwich Emporium while Kimmy was pregnant.
I'd like to think I'd like to think it's funnier if it's just for some unknown reason they're not allowed to bring sandwiches into the house.
You think it's just an excuse? Kimmy is actually very anti-sandwich even when she's not pregnant?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it would be funnier if it was.
We've seen Timmy eat sandwiches.
I just wanted to say in response to your sandwich-based buddy cop movie pitch.
Yes.
I would love to see a movie where they are two mismatched cops.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite know how they're mismatched because I don't want you to change their personality at all.
Fernando is a loose cannon who doesn't play by the rules, and Jimmy is a cop on the edge who has nothing to lose.
Fernando is a loose cannon who doesn't play by the rules. Jimmy is our perfect himbo who doesn't understand
Jimmy's
the rules.
like the new recruit, and he's getting paired up with Fernando, who's like a very experienced, he used to be a race car driver, so he drives like super fast around the town, and Jimmy like sticks his head out the window like a dog and goes, wee!
Yep. They have to bust San Francisco's biggest sandwich smuggling ring.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'd like to imagine the police chief in this movie is like, can the police chief in this movie be like a Mayor McCheese scenario where it's like a sandwich that has somehow become alive and is also the police chief?
Yes, I'll do you one better. Fernando and Jimmy are the only humans in a world completely populated by sandwich people.
Oh,
Yes! Spin-off for the
my
episode!
God. It's like a Muppet movie, but instead of Muppets, it's sandwiches.
Yeah, we don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
We don't acknowledge it at all.
Yeah.
We're going to sell this screenplay. It's
Wait,
going to
so
be
if it's like a sandwich smuggling ring, but everyone is sandwiches.
The sandwiches are also their money, Zach. God. What is so hard to get about?
Oh, I was gonna go a different direction, a darker direction, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Oh.
It's like if they're smuggling sandwiches.
Yeah, no, I know where you're going with it. I'm saying the sandwiches are also their money. And maybe also their drugs. Like they snort some oregano.
Oh, that's not where I was going to be. Snort some oregano.
Zach, you have a dark mind and it's not fun. This is our family-friendly comedy about drug smuggling, but with sandwiches.
Our very family-friendly drug smuggling cop show.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's a show and not a movie. Great.
Oh, movie. Sorry. My mistake.
No, I think this has legs. I think we're going to get 6-7 seasons out of this.
Oh my God.
So,
Max is also going to come get sandwiches because Max walks in.
Yeah, Max was in the room where it happened. Get it? Like from earlier, it's like a callback, and he insists on going too. So Max is going with them.
Yep. I love it's more of the Max versus Fernando stuff because Max says like I'll go too and Fernando says no you're not going and then Max just walks with them out the door.
I mean, what does Fernando expect? Max is basically his right-hand man.
Yeah.
This child is Fernando's right-hand man.
Harrison was making a Hamilton reference.
Let's see how many I can weave into.
Oh my God.
Harrison has his own little game going on. This is going to be a legendary episode. They will be telling the story of tonight for years to come.
Yes. So, they're off to get sandwiches, and then do we then have J Money's?
Yeah.
Then we have J Money's plot. He has invited Rocky over to try to fix things.
Yeah, because goddamn J Money.
Ramona's
Anyway.
he's like, she'll forgive me, right? And Ramona's like, yeah, girls often forgive their boyfriends after they completely humiliate them at prom. And he goes, really? I love these characters. I love these guys.
The dynamic between J Money and Ramona is the best.
Yep.
This was my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah.
Not the sandwich plot, Harrison.
I mean, the sandwich plot is good, but like nothing happens. They get sandwiches.
Nothing happens
like,
in any of these plots.
Well, I think here's the difference. Here's the difference.
Well, a lot happens in the J Money plot.
Yeah, a lot kind of does happen in the J Money plot. 2, big thing arguably happens in the A plot as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just walked out of this episode feeling like not a lot happened. Which
Zach, human was born.
I understand. Other than the human being born.
Kimmy had a baby.
No. I see what Zach is saying. Just I will say there are a few moments in the A plot that we'll get more into.
Yeah.
This, where I thought they were introducing like a comedic conflict of some kind.
Yeah.
And then it was just a one-off joke.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
We'll
nothing.
bring up a few examples later.
Nothing much really happens.
Yeah.
In any of these,
it's like the baby is born, and that takes up like half the episode. Which it's an important thing. But it's like
actually,
well, like
we'll talk about it when we get there.
That's not necessarily an excuse. Like I remember the episode where Jesse's kids were born, and they like thought of weird stuff to do. Like he had like his appendix.
No, I was just
he was going into quote unquote labor alongside his wife.
No, of course. In Friends, when Phoebe gives birth, here are the things that are going on in that episode. Phoebe wants one of the 3 babies. Her doctor is obsessed with Fonzie for some reason. Joey also starts feeling pains because he's having kidney stones.
Right, yes.
And also Monica and Chandler are having a fight because some cute doctor, Rachel was setting up a date with some cute doctors for her and Monica. And Chandler was like, oh yeah, that's cool. We're not serious. And so they get into a fight about that because they do care about each other. So no, I understand. There's a lot not much happens in any of these plots. Like not to blow any recap, but yeah, basically Kimmy goes into labor and she has the baby, and that's what happens. They go to Hamilton, she goes into labor, she has the baby. That's kind of all.
Well, you forgot. Well, they go to the theater. Kimmy's like, I'm gonna fucking kill one of these performers. The show starts. Her water breaks. They leave Hamilton. Then they go to the hospital.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I here's the thing I'm realizing as we're talking about this. Arguably, the C plot about the sandwiches does have the most character stuff and the most events and twists and turns going on in it.
I kind of see what you're talking about.
Not to blow too much, but the episode literally starts out, we didn't say this, with Jimmy on the phone saying like he needs to prove he's responsible because he's about to have a baby. They go get sandwiches. Part of the sandwich journey is Jimmy doubting that he can step up and be a good father. And then the episode ends with, one, Jimmy got a sandwich for Steph and she loves it, meaning that he can support her. And two, he proposes to Steph. Like there are some twists and turns in this C plot about sandwiches. There are some actually funny jokes.
Yeah, like there's also like the moment, which actually is a good character moment for the episode, where they get the text like, oh, the baby's coming, get to the hospital. But they're like, we are only 5 minutes away from Monty's Sandwich Emporium.
That's a very funny moment.
We are only 5 minutes away from sandwiches.
Oh, we have to go to the hospital.
I'm just thinking about it right now. It's like, oh God, our wife's having birth, but we are 5 minutes away from a Subway.
Yeah.
And
that's unfair to Uncle Monty's Sandwich Emporium.
I know.
Yeah, Zach, this is more like if we were 5 minutes from the Milburn Deli and shout out to the Milburn Deli.
But here's the other thing, because I do want to back up at the very beginning of this tangent. Harrison was saying that the J Money plotline felt the meatiest to him. I think it's this thing that we've talked about before, that I think whenever there's a J Money, Ramona, like Rocky story, whenever there's a story about those characters, that feels like it could be its own show.
Yes.
Yeah.
It feels like it could be a show that is good and fun and stands on its own legs. As much as I love Jimmy and Fernando, I don't know if them getting sandwiches could be a TV show.
I think Jimmy and Fernando were just like fun side characters. I don't think they could do a show on their own, but they're just like fun side characters in whatever show they're in.
Yes, definitely.
And where it's like they can have a subplot about sandwiches and it'll be totally fine. This episode.
We've now talked about something. Just the only thing I wanted to say about the scene that we kind of lost track of is that Rocky does come over. J Money apologizes. She forgives him, and he immediately tries to kiss her, and she says like, "Whoa, no!" It's like, J Money, buddy.
J Money. Buddy, he's simping.
She says to him like, "Look, I forgive you, but I can't trust you," and she breaks up with him. And there's also a very good moment, because when she first gets there, J Money's like, "Hey, you want a drink? We have all these different flavors of sparkling water," and Ramona in the background goes, "Oh, I'll take a passion fruit." Ramona, Zach,
they just stare at her until she leaves. It's
great.
You hit it on the head in this episode. You described it as Ramona has strong main character energy.
Yeah, Ramona, I think that's what it is. I think that's what's been in like the back of our minds.
We've been saying
this
that for
entire time.
Strong main character.
But yeah, Ramona just has strong main character energy, just as a general statement, not in this episode specifically. That's just a general statement about the character.
Yeah, she's a very good, like, straight man. Often the stories aren't super about her, but it feels like she could be the POV character in a really great way.
She's like the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then after they break up, Ramona comes back in and says, like, we're out of passion fruit, but does anyone want pamplemousse?
Which, Ramona's great. We love Ramona.
Great button. Best girl.
We love Ramona, best girl. Next scene, as we said, they sit down for Hamilton, and immediately Kimmy gives birth.
Yes, her water breaks
or not gives birth. Her water breaks.
Her water breaks almost on cue with the lights going out and the play starting.
It's like, why even involve Hamilton.
That's why at the beginning I was like, oh, Kimmy, you're having your baby soon. We're going to plan like a whole day of events for you. Because, you know, you're going to have this baby soon and nothing could possibly interrupt all of these events that we have planned. It's just, if you're going to go see Hamilton, the timing is not great. Like, if you're going to plan a baby moon, don't do it near the delivery date.
8 months. Well, it's only 8 months in.
Yeah, I believe
they don't expect the baby.
No, I believe there's a line at the very beginning. It's when Jimmy is on the phone, and I could get this wrong, where he said the baby's due in 2 weeks, actually.
Oh, okay, 2 weeks.
That still
okay.
feels.
So it's only 2 weeks early.
I mean,
that's 8 months, but it's 2 weeks early, not 4 weeks. I get it. Okay.
I don't know. It still feels a little close for me, especially when you spend like however much money on front row seats to Hamilton.
Especially when you're in a sitcom and you know something's gonna go wrong.
Exactly. They should have been aware that they're in a sitcom.
Right?
They should be more trope savvy.
It's like we don't even get like the scene where it's like cut to later. They're in the middle of the show. Kimmy turns to DJ and she's like, Deej. And DJ's like, shh, Kimmy, I'm watching a Tony-winning show. And she's like, my water just broke. And she's like, shh.
I mean, they have like kind of a joke there where she's like,
yeah,
DJ, my water. And she's like, yeah, no, Kimmy, the water was like $8. I'm not paying for that. And she's like, no, my water broke. And they're like, oh, you're having a baby. We should get you to the hospital.
It's just so funny to me that it's like they immediately sit down. This isn't an issue at all. We don't really get into the fact that they're at a show.
It's like on cue once the show starts.
Anyway, like we were saying, Max, Fernando, and Jimmy are in a very real car.
Yes.
That's very real. They're driving on a very real highway.
It definitely doesn't look like a 1960s car backdrop
and a green screen.
You're correct. It does not look fake at all.
It's very real. They got all the cameras in the car themselves, drove on the actual highway, and filmed the scene for Fuller House.
This is some real like mockumentary shit. Like they really drove the cars and put the cameras in the cars.
Cinema verite is how I describe it. But yeah, then they get, as we were saying, they get the call that Kimmy's water broke, but they go, so we should get to the hospital unless, and they get sandwiches.
Yes. Yeah. They're like, well, they're just kind of like, well, on one hand, my girlfriend's going in, I'm going to be a dad, and Fernando's ex-wife, whatever the hell they are, is going into labor.
His partner is going into labor.
Partner, that's probably the best way to put it. And on the other hand, sandwiches.
Meatball.
Sorry, Kimmy, we're getting these sandwiches.
Yeah, let's do a thought experiment. So, Zach.
Yes. Mark.
Harrison is dangling over a tank of sharks.
Oh, no.
Okay, my mind is there. I'm dangling over the sharks. Zach, please help me.
He's dangling over the shark.
How close am I?
You're my best friends
on the other hand,
I need your help.
Yes.
You're right outside the door. You know he's there. You're right outside the door. You can rush in and rescue him.
Got it.
5 minutes away is a sandwich shop.
Oh.
Zach.
Ooh.
Zach, I need you. My thumb might have been sprayed.
Yeah,
earlier.
but
I'm having trouble hanging
Harrison,
on.
you can hang on for like 5 more minutes while I get a sandwich, right?
Zach, the sharks are getting antsy. I don't think the owner has.
Maybe
fed
they're
them.
friendly sharks. We don't know.
Yeah, look. Yeah, Harrison, look. Unless they smell blood in the water, they're probably not going to do anything.
Maybe they're friendly. We don't know.
But what if I am bleeding? Zach,
Zach,
the
that's a
rim
good
of
point.
The tank
He's bleeding.
is cutting into my hand, and there's blood trickling down. It's gonna touch the water.
That's a good
soon.
point. The sharks are getting.
I need you to. I need you to put the sandwiches out of your mind for just a moment, please.
So you're hearing this, Zach. Now you're 2 minutes away from the subway, from the sandwich shop.
Yeah, well, if it's only 2 minutes.
You son of a bitch! I can't believe I ever trusted you. We started a podcast together.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the sandwich.
Well, now that we know where we stand with each other.
Fuller House. Where your friends don't
Fuller House,
you to
where
die.
there are no life or death situations involving sharks and also sandwiches.
Fuller House, where everybody knows your name. Wait a minute. Ramona and J Money are at the house. There's a very good line. J Money is so upset, and Ramona says to him, like, hey, you won't be alone forever. Another girl who makes bad decisions will come along.
That's just a very good line.
So good.
Very good
We love
line.
our
Ramona
sad
has
boy.
main character energy. We love our sad boy.
We love our sad
great.
boy.
He gets a text, is immediately like, oh, it's probably Rocky wanting to get back together. And sees, oh no, it's just your stupid mom giving birth.
Yes, we know where J Money's.
And Ramona's like, wait, my mom's giving birth. We gotta get to the hospital. But neither of us have a car or a driver's license. What are we gonna do? Cut to them in a car with Rocky driving.
It's good.
So
it's
good.
very good.
It's
It's
good.
very
Who can
good.
give us a ride to the house? It's very good. I like it a lot. It's very awkward. And then at the very end of the scene, Rocky goes, hey, why didn't you guys call Uber?
and then just cut to Ramona's face as she stares into
And she's like, yeah, that would have been a lot
regretting
less
all of
awkward
her life choices.
than asking J Money's ex for a ride.
It's so good because when they were like, how are we going to get to the hospital when we don't drive? Yeah, I think we all kind of thought like Uber or something. And then it's much better to cut to them with Rocky. But then for Rocky, as we've established before, she is the voice of reason in the show. She's the only sane one. For her to go, why didn't you call Uber?
Rocky just says what the audience is thinking the entire time. That's been the way I would describe Rocky since she first came in. Is like, Rocky's just a character that is just whatever the audience is thinking, she will say it.
Yeah.
Whatever we need to hear.
But it's very good.
So yeah, now we got
They're in the car with her.
we got three different cars all rush into the hospital at the same time.
Three very real cars. This is a real car heavy episode.
These are all real cars.
Yeah.
So
anyway, Fernando makes a turn and Jimmy's sandwich goes flying out the window.
Top 10 anime deaths.
I thought that would lead to a thing where like they have to go back and they're losing even more time.
I did too. I thought that would have been what they did, but they didn't.
Exactly.
But instead Jimmy was like,
instead it becomes a really weird character beat.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like, oh, I just threw my sandwich out the window. What happens if I do that to my baby?
Yeah, I think what he literally says is, if I can't hold on to a sandwich, how am I going to hold on to a baby?
Which Fernando is like, well, usually babies aren't covered in oil and vinegar, so that's one thing.
Very good response.
Usually.
I just want to let you guys know that I took a look at my notes. I wrote that down in my notes as, if I can't hold on to a sandwich, how am I going to hold on to a sandwich?
Very valid question.
Valid question. And look, he dropped his sandwich and he wasn't even also dribbling a basketball.
Yes, that is... He didn't get his hands confused. He didn't switch up his sandwich arm and his dribbling arm. He used both arms for the sandwich.
But again, in our most overarching character thing of this episode, Jimmy is saying, am I going to be a good father? Am I going to be a failure as a father? And Max tells him, hey, I see how you take care of Tommy and me, and you're going to be a great dad, Jimmy. And it's very sweet. He tells Jimmy he's going to be a great dad. And then I forget exactly what leads into it, but Max does have to remind Jimmy, like, I'm 10, right? And then Jimmy says, very important to note, then why am I having you do my taxes?
I think he says something along the lines of like, I trust you because you're wearing a sweater vest or something like that.
Well, yeah. One of his lines is, Max, I know you sound like you have so much wisdom because you're wearing a vest. There's a lot of good Jimmy stuff in this episode.
Our good sweet himbo boy. But yeah, now we're at the hospital. And guys, Dr. Cohen was supposed to deliver the baby, but who comes in but Dr. Miller, another doctor. What's gonna happen now?
I think now that we're at the hospital in the delivery room, I think maybe that brings us to our very special guest and our very special segment. I think it's time.
It's
guys,
time.
Welcome to our very special segment, A Womb with a View, with Dr. Susan Wolf, with our special guest, Dr. Susan Wolf, aka my mom. Mom, will you come on the call?
It's Mark's mom.
Yeah. So I'm here.
Hello.
I'm here.
Hello.
Hi, honey.
Hi, Mom.
I love you.
I love you too.
Aww.
This is adorable.
So,
First question: is it safe for an 8 months pregnant mother to do cartwheels?
well, that is a very good question,
Yeah.
and I have never been asked that. In general, we do advise you to maintain the level of activity that you were at before you were pregnant, but not to increase it. But I honestly have never been asked about gymnastics, and it does seem to be a little bit much. Your center of gravity is completely off when you're pregnant, so I don't know if that would go so well.
Maybe Kimmy couldn't do any cartwheels until she was pregnant.
That's very possible.
Then I would advise her not to have started then. I
was going to say, what if Kimmy was just like an Olympic hopeful in gymnastics and is just keeping up the training regimen? But
oh my god.
Well, I think that's a little bit much.
I don't know.
I
It's
must
very
say.
high impact.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
would advise against it. I would have to advise against it.
We just want to say we're bringing you on because you're our fertility doctor. Mm-hmm. OGYN. You have a lot of experience with babies and the delivery of them.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Although I haven't delivered any for a while because I try to make them. But
I understand, but
yes.
but Mom, you have delivered more babies than I have.
Yes, that is correct.
Dare I say, she has delivered more babies than the three of us combined. Unless, I don't know.
That's
I don't
true.
know, Harrison.
Harrison
might be.
How many babies?
I can confirm I have not made or delivered any.
Because I would have pegged you for at least 20.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, but I guess we were wrong.
But anytime we're watching any show with anything medical, anything with the delivery of babies, you get very worked up about all the inaccuracies.
I get insane. Yes, you may use the word insane.
You get insane, and I thought it would be fun to bring you on to talk about this episode.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I do want to say though that baby moons exist, and I agree with you guys that you don't wait till 2 weeks before the baby is born to do your baby moon. You know, that's usually done, a couple months
The
before.
expert is on my side on this one. I will gladly take
yes,
it.
Zach, you
I didn't
were
say it was like a
100%
sane
correct.
thing to do. I just remembered in the episode I said, this isn't a thing. And then Mom said, no, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
All
It's a
right.
thing. I thought they did a pretty good job. I don't mean to backtrack, but I thought starting off with all that fat feet thing was a little unfair and mean because, your feet swell or they may swell.
Yeah.
And that wasn't nice.
Steph
but
is being very mean to Kimmy.
Yeah.
She's mean.
Her feet weren't even that swollen. They looked fine.
Her feet were not swollen to the point that when she found out they had tickets to Hamilton, she could do a whole bunch of cartwheels.
That's correct. And
Yeah.
she could fit into shoes, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought they did actually not a bad job in portraying the delivery room. As you guys pointed out, there were a lot of people in there, which that would not be realistic. But since it's a comedy show, I think we could give them a pass on that. If it were trying to be like,
I remember you getting very worked up about that episode of Friends I'd mentioned earlier.
yeah, well, that's true. That was farcical, but it did bother me. I don't remember in specific, but
Yeah, because Stephanie and DJ are both in the room with Kimmy. And then later on, also Fernando and Jimmy are in the room with Kimmy. Fernando and Jimmy still eating their sandwiches. Which, Mom, is that a thing? Do people eat sandwiches?
people do have... The fathers do bring snacks for labor, which I always thought was really mean because the woman in labor can't be eating. So, it's but
like
actually
eating snacks in front of your wife who was giving
before you
labor.
were born, Dad went and got some Stelladora treats. That was his snack that
my
he brought
God.
to the hospital.
That's wonderful.
I remember
Actually,
a story about you telling him to get bagels.
I did. I sent him out when they gave me an epidural. I sent him out to get bagels for the nurses, and he said, "You want me to leave?" And I said, "Yeah, just to go get bagels. You'll come back." He goes, "You want me to leave?" I said, "Just for a few minutes. I'm going to sleep." So yes, I did send him out for bagels. You got to feed the troops, you know.
You gotta feed the troops.
Grandpa Bert used to tell us that.
Mm.
So there were only really two things I caught in there. That the heart monitor never moved.
Static image.
Maybe Kimmy doesn't have a heart.
Ooh.
Well, that is true, but she walks, talks. I imagine she has a pulse, you know?
You imagine she has a pulse.
Yeah,
But
I think her heart is beating.
Mom, she grew up in a haunted house. Maybe there's some supernatural stuff going on.
What if Kimmy's a robot?
What if she's a ghost?
What if she's a ghost?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's gonna be the end of the series.
Ghost
They're gonna turn
baby.
over. Kimmy's not there. They're like, wait a minute.
Dead the whole time.
Ghost baby.
We already pitched a spinoff. We can't be pitching Ghost Baby as well.
I'm sorry. I just have Ghost Baby stuck in my mind now, and I can't get it out.
Is that technically just Casper the Friendly Ghost?
It's
my God.
Casper the Friendly
Yes,
Ghost Baby.
I guess so. Isn't Casper's not a baby.
But so
He's a kid.
he has a babyish head, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he doesn't.
We can't spend a lot of time on this. You're telling me that Casper the Friendly Ghost does not have a babyish head?
He does kind of have a babyish head. I'll give you that.
I'm not disputing that. He does have a babyish head.
Okay.
A babyish head.
Baby-
Mom,
Babyish.
yes.
So there are only two other things that, you know, occurred to me. First of all, they did not fall prey to the common mistake done in portraying a delivery where after the baby is crying and out, they say push, push, push. They keep the person pushing because the baby's like flopping out by then, you know, but in most of them, they have the patient keep pushing after the baby's like really delivered, which is, you know, because it's like a second. But the thing I noticed is that it was a very clean delivery room, which, you know, the Full House is a family show and Fuller House is a family show, but the Fullest House podcast is not. But because Full House is a family show, perhaps they elected not to show that there are accompanying fluids with delivery because it was a very clean baby.
Clean baby.
Clean baby.
Kimmy has the cleanest womb that you've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. She's very thorough down there.
Yeah.
Lemony fresh.
Yup.
Febrezes it. She rubs it down every day.
Please note that the Fullest House podcast does not encourage using Febreze down there.
No.
Just want to get that out there.
Down there.
Do not take medical
Nobody
advice.
Febreze
Ladies,
your womb,
do not take
please.
medical advice on your down there from 3 men.
There are 4 people on this podcast. Only one of them is qualified to give medical advice.
Yes. And unsurprisingly, it's the one with the doctorate.
I honestly don't think people are tuning in to listen to you guys for medical advice. So.
I don't think
God.
so
I'm
either,
not
but we
worried
just
about
wanted to make sure.
To make it
because
clear.
we know
Yeah,
our
that's
audience
good.
trusts us that much.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point. Very good point. Very good.
But I'm glad you think this one did pretty well.
No, they did.
I remember watching that one episode of ER and calling you and saying, "Hey, we watched an episode of ER in class where someone gave birth," and you went, "Oh, is it this one?"
I know that Aunt Diane called. You gotta come here. You gotta come here. You're gonna hate this. And it was the episode where they let the patient deliver in the emergency room and that would never happen. She'd be sent right to the labor floor, and it's very complicated. And it was just like insane. Like they never have anybody stay in the emergency room when they're in labor, to the point at which we would get patients sent up to the labor floor in labor who were not pregnant. They were going at the desk in the emergency room and said they were delivering, but they were, not 100% okay upstairs, but they sent them right up to the labor floor and the patient wasn't pregnant. And then we called down and said, this patient's not pregnant. And they said, well, can you just write a note? So we had to do a pregnancy test to, show them that there was no baby. So they would never keep a patient in the emergency. That one was the worst. That one was the absolute worst.
I only bring it up because I needed to give everyone a taste of what usually happens when a show is
yes.
worse
I was going
than
to
that.
say, I'm getting strong Zach's drum corner vibes from this whole rant. Which I think is just like, look, if there's a thing and you're passionate about, and you see people do it on like a TV show incorrectly, You get heated.
Well, I have only
yeah.
watched one episode of Grey's Anatomy, and they were scrubbing at the sink, and then they pulled their masks down to emote to each other. Now that everyone after COVID knows what it's like to wear a mask, you wouldn't pull your mask down to talk to somebody if your hands are sterile. That was it for me. That did it for me.
I couldn't watch it.
I couldn't watch it. I guess I have a low bar or a high bar. I don't know. Low tolerance.
We should also mention, because we didn't mention, Kimmy's original doctor wasn't there because he was in the lottery for Hamilton. And wouldn't you know it, these 3 seats in the front row opened up. So he couldn't make it. Would that
it
sort of
does
thing
come back
happen?
around.
Have you known doctors to not make their deliveries because they have tickets to something?
Well, I think if you're on call, you're on call. So, I think that just going, that's a good one to pick up on.
Not so dumb, am I?
No, not so dumb. If he were going to Hamilton, somebody would have to be covering him whether he had seats in the front row or the last row, right?
Yeah.
Does eating toast with hot butter qualify you to be a Gibbler doctor? Would you know?
Well,
about
to
that?
be fair, a Gibbler doctor is something completely different than normal
Yeah,
medicine.
I was going to ask who your favorite bachelor was because that's also important.
I would be stumped on that one. I wouldn't have an answer since I don't watch it.
Kimmy asks these questions of her new doctor. She wouldn't have accepted you.
She would have rejected me, yes. I would not have passed her test.
There's also a fun IMDb trivia thing about this one where the doctor says her favorite bachelor is Juan Pablo, who is widely disliked and considered by most fans of The Bachelor to be the worst bachelor in the show's history. It's also the
Really?
first name of the actor who plays Kimmy's ex-husband, Juan Pablo Di Pace.
Of course.
I just
where
thought
my
that
mind
was
went.
funny. And also I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast, but I like hot butter on my breakfast toast is a Rapper's Delight reference as well.
Of course.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes. Mom, I'd love to keep talking to you. I don't know if you can stick around. If you have to go, that's okay. You've given us some very good insights, unless you have anything else you want to share.
No, I enjoyed watching it with you, and I think you guys are great.
Thank you.
We think you're great.
you.
Ah,
Thank you.
shucks.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for
coming
being
on.
here.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Dr. Susan Wolf. That was A Womb with a View with Dr. Susan Wolf.
Yes. But yeah, so when they go through with the actual birth, just getting back to the episode real quick because I don't want Tyler to kill me. So they go there, they're giving birth, and like we said earlier, only DJ and Steph are in the room at the very beginning, which I feel like Jimmy and Fernando have more of a right to be in the room than DJ does in this scenario.
Yeah.
Considering it is
Yeah.
her partner and the father of the baby, respectively.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
they finally show up and they have sandwiches,
Yep.
which everyone
They-
is fine.
yeah.
DJ is not fine with, but Steph
show
is
up-
because
Yeah.
he
They
cares.
show up, Jimmy gives Steph a sandwich, and they're like, "Oh, Jimmy, you are gonna be a good dad." And then there's a whole musical montage where they play like an entire song.
They play Joni Mitchell, the circle
Yes,
game.
they play, I think, the entire song.
I think they play the entire song. I remember, and it starts with it's in slow motion.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
these static shots with no dialogue. It's slow motion. And I remember at one point, the song kept going and just being like, wow, they really are playing the
Yeah.
whole song, aren't they?
There's also like some good moments where it's like all the kids are waiting outside and Rocky grabs J Money's hand and it's like, oh, they're starting
Yeah.
to it's cute.
There's hope.
It's sweet.
And yeah, Rocky also decided to stick around for whatever reason.
Well,
She
she
wants to
said,
meet the
I think
baby.
she says, yeah, now that she's here, she wants to meet the baby.
And the entire
Yeah.
time J Money's like, so we're dating again, right? No? How about now?
I remember the first time we watched it being really off-put by this montage. I still think it's sort of a weird moment, but I wasn't as put off by it.
Yeah.
I will say though, maybe the fact that they had a silent montage, an entire silent montage to a licensed song is the reason why nothing much happened in this
Yeah.
episode, because they had to
Yeah.
play the entirety of the circle game.
They spent so much time on this montage where nothing really happens. Where it's like it could have been several minutes shorter and accomplished the same thing.
Yeah. There's one joke in it, which is it cuts from played pretty straight shots of Kimmy giving birth to Fernando and Jimmy, and they're just like very scared and they're eating sandwiches.
Yeah,
that's the one joke in the montage.
Yeah.
Also, DJ calls Steve earlier, who was not there, but makes a joke about shoving licorice into his shoes because snacks at Hamilton are expensive.
Smuggle your own snacks into theaters.
Which, Steve, you're a podiatrist. What the hell?
You have to know that's not good for your feet. We know
the licorice.
Especially not for the licorice.
We know two things about Steve. One, he likes food.
He likes
Two,
feet.
He likes feet. These two, this moment puts them both in conflict.
Yes.
Your food's going to be bad because it was by your feet, Steve, and your feet are going to be bad because it was by your food. I expect more from the head podiatrist of the Lakers.
Lonzo Ball's personal podiatrist.
You couldn't say that with a straight face.
Yep. Oh my god. But they have the baby, and
it's a little girl.
It's a girl. They have a girl. They have a daughter.
It's a cute little girl.
And then the DJ or Kimmy asks, "What are you guys gonna name the baby?" And then Jimmy's like, "Oh, I forgot about that part." So they don't name the baby for the entirety of this episode, and it's like a whole thing in the beginning of season 5 as well.
Jimmy does something else.
Yes.
He starts telling Steph how much he loves her. He gets down on one knee and he proposes to Stephanie.
Yeah.
Aww. And she says yes. They're gonna get married. They're gonna get married.
It's a subversion of the classic trope in sitcoms of stupid husband with hot wife. Now it's stupid husband with hot wife, but he's also hot.
Yeah.
So they're just all very hot.
Yep. Just a bunch of hot dummies raising a baby.
Yeah.
And that's basically how the episode ends. Kimmy has one little singer joke at the end where she's like, "Steph, you're finally gonna be a Gibbler," and then Steph just has a look of fear and regret in her eyes.
You're forgetting the most important moment, which is where we find out that Fernando is not actually a witch; he's a fraud.
Right? Yes.
He just writes girl and boy on the
he brings out, once they find out it's a girl, he says, "Well, that means my prediction was correct." He brings out a card. DJ opens it and says, "It says boy," and he says, "Well, flip it over," and the other side says girl.
And Jimmy is very excited about it. He's like, "Oh, you are a wizard. Oh my god." And meanwhile, Fernando's just like, he's playing both sides. That way he always comes out on top.
He's playing both sides of the circle game.
Yes, indeed.
You get it?
And then the episode ends.
Yeah, which Tyler had a very good description for this episode. He called it a fondant episode. That it's an episode that it's very sweet. There's some stuff about it that looks nice. That's pretty nice. I enjoyed a good amount of stuff in the Jimmy subplot, in the J Money subplot. But ultimately, there's not much substance to it.
Yeah, it's like hollow. There's no meat inside. I know there's no meat in a fondant cake, but
there's no cake.
There should be meat in a fondant cake. Ooh, let's make one. Let's make a steak wrapped in fondant.
Oh god.
Oh, this sounds so incredibly cursed. But anyways, following this wonderful birth of a new child, a new life, we are now moving on to a different birth. A much funnier birth. The birth of the new Sad Boy of the Week. How's that for a transition?
Hell yeah.
Sad Boy of the Week time. I feel like it's almost a default at this point, but I would like to nominate J Money.
I think so. I think she earns it this one.
J Money works, earns it this one.
Maybe Jimmy is another nominee?
Yeah, I was about to say, I was also kind of thinking Jimmy. Ramona
had some good sad boy
Ramona could work, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Maybe Kimmy, because her failed murderer plans don't work, and she also misses out on being very excited to see Hamilton because her water broke.
And her doctor...
is missing, yeah.
Steals her Hamilton seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll nominate Kimmy, but that was kind of her recap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Anyway, who are our nominees? It's Jimmy, it's J Money, it's Ramona.
And Kimmy. We kind of already did her.
We kind of already did Kimmy.
Yeah.
So next up, Ramona. I like Ramona in this episode.
Oh,
Ramona
Ramona's
was very
great.
good this episode.
Ramona has to help J Money try to get his girlfriend back. She immediately fails to read the room, and when J Money nervously offers Rocky a drink, goes, I'll take a drink, and then goes, or I could get it myself. She then walks back in at an inopportune moment saying, okay, we didn't have passion fruit, but if anybody wants pamplemousse. Which also means, like, she wanted a passion fruit.
She didn't have her passion fruit.
She wanted passion fruit. They didn't have it. They didn't have her
God
drink.
damn it. Nothing could go right
God
for
damn it.
Ramona today.
This is really the saddest moment of the entire episode, yes.
She is impeded from the news that her mother is in the hospital giving birth because J Money is too wrapped up in his girlfriend. She has to call Rocky to give them a ride, and then is made a fool of when Rocky asks her, why didn't you call Uber? And she's like, yes, I didn't have to set up this awkward car ride.
Ramona was great. Oh, man.
And that's kind of Ramona's
Ramona's
stuff
cool.
in this episode, but I really
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, she's very fun this episode.
Very fun this episode.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Jiminy Gibbler.
Jiminy Gibbler doesn't know if he can be a father. He needs to find a whoopee. He needs to find a wabby. What was the other thing?
whibby.
I don't
There was a
care.
lot
I
of
don't
things
know.
that like rhymed with wubby
wibby.
and wibby and
Yeah, a whoopee, a wibby, a quibby. Jimmy is all about that short form content.
I was gonna say.
He was the one person sad that Quibi was going away.
It was his favorite streaming service.
Random story I'm gonna keep very short. I
Alright.
once knew a person who at one point started insisting on using Quibi as a unit of measurement. Where it's like, yeah, I'll get back to like completely as a joke
back
for
to
sure.
you. I'll
But
get
it's
back
like,
to you in a
but it's
Quibi.
like, it's like I'll get back to you in half a Quibi, and it's like, no, stop trying to make Quibi a thing. I had to like pull out the whole like, stop trying to make Quibi a thing. It'll never be a thing.
Well, hopefully, because I think we have maybe half a quibby left. We should get going with this.
We should use Quibi as a measure.
Jimmy has been forbidden from going to his favorite sandwich
Yeah.
shop while Kimmy is pregnant. So he is now lying to his girlfriend and not telling her that he's going to get a sandwich. Although I guess he gets her
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sandwich. So in the end, it's not an issue. But he has to sneak around with Fernando getting sandwiches.
Yes.
He drops his sandwich out the window. I don't know if you can drop something out of a window. You maybe just throw it out a window. He drops his sandwich. He can't hold on to it, which immediately sends him into a spiral about if he's going to be a bad father. Also sad, Max is the one who makes him feel better. It's the wisdom of a 10-year-old boy in a vest
Indeed.
that comforts Jimmy. And then in the end, he gets to the hospital and DJ's like, I can see you eating a sandwich. And then he quickly eats his sandwich and says, no, you don't. Which means maybe he got two. Did he get two sandwiches? Because he did lose one.
I thought he had a bag of sandwiches, honestly. That's what my memory
Oh, he had a
is
bag
telling
of
me.
sandwiches. Correct.
He did have a
Right.
bag
Yeah,
because he
had a
brought
bag.
Steph one as well.
He bought Steph one. I forgot if he just bought Steph one or if he did have a whole bag of sandwiches.
definitely
So we
had a
should also
bag. say,
I don't know if it is, but it's possibly sad boy behavior to buy a whole bag of sandwiches in case you lose some.
Because he was eating another
Yeah.
sandwich during the birth.
Yep, he was eating another sandwich during the birth.
So many sandwiches.
At least 3 in one day. That's so many sandwiches.
He's a lot of sandwiches all day, every day.
Yeah.
But in the end, he gets engaged.
Yay!
He proposes.
Yay!
And then there's J Money.
J Money.
J Money. J Money has been trying to call Rocky to get her to forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
He is not aware that maybe this is going to be a hard task. Ramona sarcastically goes, yeah, girls always forgive their boyfriends for making fun of them at prom. And he's like, really? So just, we love a dummy.
Our good sweet boy.
And he's a good,
Our
sweet
good
boy.
sweet dumb boy.
She gets there. He apologizes. She accepts the apology, but does not want to get back together, even though he immediately says, oh, great, smooch time, right? We're going to kiss.
He still cannot
Oh.
read those signals.
Oh, J Money. Friend of the show, Michael Campion, killing it as usual.
He's waiting by the phone. He gets a text and immediately says, well, she definitely wants to get back together, right? This is either a very sad thing or not a sad thing, because either he's forced to go in a car ride with his ex-girlfriend,
Yes.
as of that day.
God.
Oh my god.
Or maybe it's like, now's my
He
chance.
very awkwardly asks, "Are you seeing anyone?" And then responds, "What?
Yeah.
It's only
Oh, yeah,
been a
you're
day."
right.
When she very sarcastically says that she's dating an Israeli soldier of all people.
Just so dumb.
We love our
and
good
then,
boy.
And then she holds his hand. She holds his hand.
She does.
She holds his hand. So it's a nice little cute moment at the end.
So I think those are our nominees.
Yeah.
Who are you voting
Man, I am
for?
so torn.
Ooh. I know, I am too.
Who are you torn between? Because I think I kind of have.
I'm torn between all like the three main nominees.
Yeah.
I think they all had something to offer. Ramona's
Yeah.
probably not winning. I mean, she had like incidentally sad jokes.
Yeah,
but
here's my thing. It's that I think Ramona was like the most focused and the funniest to me.
Yeah.
I was like, Ramona was really killing it in this episode, but she wasn't particularly sad.
yeah.
So
sure,
I think
sure.
of the three, I maybe enjoyed Ramona the most.
Yeah.
That's
But
true.
I don't know if she was quite a sad boy.
That's true. Yeah. Yes.
It's kind of between the two, and they both do have like that moment of redemption at the end,
Yeah.
which usually like takes off a couple points for me on the sad boy chart.
Yeah. But also, let's be real. We've seen the episodes directly coming after this. We know that J Money's not really out of the hole. There's no way holding hands for one
No.
moment means your girlfriend is going to get back together with
Yeah,
you.
and that's why I was leaning towards J Money, because his like little moment is a lot smaller than
Yeah.
Jimmy's.
I, though, think I'm voting Jimmy, actually.
Okay.
Because I just think... I think his sadness
It
was
was-
funnier.
Also, the sadness of...
It was funny.
The sadness of, oh my god, I dropped my sandwich. Will I drop my baby?
Yes, that was very good.
Whereas
was fantastic.
J Money was more going through a thing.
Yeah.
And it was very funny, but also something that we've kind of been through before with J Money, girl troubles. I thought Jimmy was just really wacky and fun in his sadness.
I think it's very
I'm voting
close.
Jimmy.
But I think I'm gonna have to give it to J Money on this one, just for the constant simping. Just like the, are we
Right.
back together yet?
Right.
Okay, how about now? How about now?
Good point.
You're holding my hand. That means we're back together now, right? Like,
Good
Yeah.
point. So Harrison,
I am
Tiebreaker.
so torn, but I think I'm gonna have to go Jimmy on this one.
that's fair. That's fair. I'm not mad,
it's Jimmy this week.
which I think puts him up to, if I remember correctly, 3 sad boy wins? 2 or 3. I don't know. Tyler might have updated it already. But, well, it's the end of the season, so I might as well just status update on the sad boy leaderboard.
Yes. Okay.
I'll go from the bottom up,
Okay.
revealing our winner at the end. All right. With 1 win, we have Macy Gray,
Okay.
as usual.
Grammy Award winning artist Macy Gray.
Yes. We also have Rocky,
Mm-hmm.
Sad Teacher Man, Mankowski,
Oh my god.
Aunt Becky, she will forever be missed, and Josh Peck.
Yes.
At 2 wins, we have DJ, Kimmy, Max, and Uncle Jesse.
Wow.
With 3 wins, we now have Matt and now Jimmy,
Okay.
tied at 3 wins.
Ooh.
I thought he had
Ooh.
only one before. Okay.
No, I think Jimmy's been pulling it out at the end. He won this one and he won 2 episodes ago.
Oh right.
So Jimmy and Matt are both at 3. With 4 wins, Ramona.
Mm-hmm.
With 5 wins, we have Steve and Danny. And now our top 3. In 3rd place, with 6 wins, we have Steph, our favorite. Steph is a mess.
Yes.
Steph is a
In
mess.
2nd place, with 7 sad boy wins, is world famous race car driver Fernando Hernandez Guerrero, as played by Juan Pablo Di Pace. And in the lead after 4 seasons, with 11 wins,
Oh my god.
it's obvious.
11
Everyone's
wins.
favorite, friend of the show, J Money himself, friend of the show Michael Campion, and his
As
character J Money.
As J Money.
In the lead with
J-Money.
11, 4 ahead of 2nd place. I love how everything else is like so close to each other, and then J Money is running away with it.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Fernando's starting to gain, but J Money's
he's still
Yeah.
4 ahead of Fernando.
He's still 4 ahead of
So
Fernando.
we'll see if anybody makes
Love it.
a last-ditch Herculean effort to top the Sad Boy leaderboard.
Yeah.
But it seems like J Money's running away with this. But
That's great.
yeah,
So
I
yeah,
think that
Zach,
is
wanna take
going
us
to
home?
be it. Yeah, I think after that status update, that is going to be it for season 4 of the Fullest House podcast. Thank you all so much for listening these past 4 seasons. We've had so much fun making this, and we hope you've had just as much fun listening to it. And if you like what you just listened to, you can like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Fullest House Pod. Once again, I'm Zach Horowitz.
I'm Mark Greene.
I'm Harrison Bloom.
And until next time, may your houses be fuller, and may your rooms be where it happened. We'll see you all in season 5.